Today we're installing a 360 ProLock system on a front wheel, and it's literally 2 easy steps. You drill some holes and you thread in the bead locks, and we're going to show you how.
Won't need this anymore.
To get your spacing right, you're going to count 4 spoke nipples between each hole. There's the first hole. 1, 2, 3, 4 is the first one we will drill. You're going to need 3 drill bits, an 1/8 inch, an 8 millimeter, and a 10 millimeter. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to drill out all 9 holes with the 8 millimeter, and at the end we'll do one with the 10 millimeter for the valve. I'm not too concerned with where the valve goes. I don't think it's that important, so we're just going to pick one of these holes and drill it out a little bigger. Now we're going to go in and clean all these metal shavings off and kind of clean this rim up a little bit before we continue.
Try to get part of the tire down into the channel of the rim, right? Is the next. So basically you have to account for all these rim locks like you would a normal rim lock. You have to get in between them and the rim.
Yep, exactly. This tire's been sitting out in the sun, and it's a nice soft compound too. Look at that, what's going on. Okay. Try not to hit the rim locks if you can avoid it.
Cool. One of the reasons we had to lube up the inside of the tire and rim locks themselves is now we're going to start tightening them. As we tighten them, they're going to force the tire itself upward to sit on the bead like a tube would. The shape of the rim locks that Nuetech has actually force the bead lock between the tire so it can't go back down in the deep part of the channel. It just stays, so even if you get a flat tire, it stays on the rim no matter what. I believe he will have 5150 mousses coming out for this, available pretty soon for the front. We already have them for the rear, but you don't need to run a mousse in there. But the idea here as you're tightening is you don't want to fully tighten one, because then you get to a certain spot and there's not enough gap for the tire to go over to that side, and it's really hard to get the last one on.
You just want to go equally, a little bit at a time, and it'll take several times around until you're all the way done tightening it. And if you have a torque wrench, that's great. It's really not too crazy specific. I think you have to go pretty gnarly for it to break or hurt anything, but you should follow the torque specs that are provided.
But pretty easy overall.
Easy, especially a front tire with no 5150. Really easy. We got it on with almost no levers.
The most time consuming part is just loosening all these, so if you get an electric one, it makes it a little faster. Have a friend help you finger tight them.
That's it, and then you add air. And if it's leaking, you didn't tighten it enough. And you went up to the torque spec. Do I want one of those electric ones?
Yep.
Should we go get the torque wrench? Torque specs are different between front and rear wheels here with the ProLock system. This front tire calls for 4 to 5 foot-pounds of pressure, and then you fill the tire up to 25 psi, and then you crank it to 5 foot-pounds torque, and then you can have whatever air pressure after that. But that air pressure forces the bead locks on a little bit, and you need to go re-torque them. Torque them, then go fill them over there, and then torque them, and then we're done.
So we torqued it and then went inside and filled it up, and now we're going to torque it again?
Yeah, we put it to 25 psi to kind of set the bead locks, and now we're going to torque them to 5 foot-pounds, and we'll be done. We can set our tire pressure and go ride.
Plushy versus platinum.